So I've been Lyft driving, and I gave a ride today and had an interesting conversation, and it prompted me to make this video. The person I gave a ride to was a middle-aged woman who was on her way to the Trump rally, which is happening at the Knapp Center by Drake, their basketball stadium. And in talking to her, she was on her way to the Trump rally. She said, please don't kick me out of the car. We had a laugh about that, and I advised her that I don't judge anybody's opinions. You know, I just like this stuff. I think that we all want what's best for America. We just have different ways of getting there sometimes. I understand why people support Trump. I said, but I am always curious, what is it? Why do you support Trump? Well, it became clear right away that the reason she supports Trump is because he reads the Bible. In fact, she said, he reads the Bible, he prays, he's a good Christian man, he worries about the Bible, and it just seems like the Democrats don't care. I like that he's pro-life. And then she said, and I'm just not good at really, verbalizing why I support Trump. But those were her reasons. Now, people have said horrible things. People say that I shouldn't say bad things about religion or criticize religion. This is why I have to, because this is madness. We're talking about a man who is morally bankrupt, a man who has cheated on every wife he's ever had, a man who is rightly accused of sexual assault and has probably committed several and is now our president, a man who conducts himself in some of the most putrid of male chauvinistic manner and dismisses it as, and I quote, locker room banter when he refers to grabbing women by the pussy. He is despicable. He's morally bankrupt. But you see, Christians have things so backwards, they can be confused as to think that this is the man of God. And so I was being respectful, and I said, yeah, that's kind of why my parents, support him as well. They're both pastors. I'm an atheist. And then all of a sudden it was, oh my God, you're an atheist? Oh, I have to pray for you. How can you be an atheist if your parents are pastors? And then I got preached at for the rest of our 25-minute ride and told 3 different times that I needed to attend her church. And that she was going to write my name down and pray for me every night because she was worried for my soul, and there's just no way, and wanted to tell me all about her personal experience with God. And when I told her I've had personal experiences that I used to believe were with God, and I was in church 3 times a week and sometimes preaching in that church, it just didn't compute. She couldn't figure that out. It didn't register in her mind how it was possible that I could have left the faith. And the conversation circled back around, and I was like, that is one of the things I don't understand with my parents is one thing I've taken away from the Bible my whole life is I lived my life by a moral code, and I'm highly concerned with morals. How do you square Donald Trump's life and how he's lived it with you thinking that, it doesn't seem to compute to me because he doesn't seem like a good Christian man. He could just be telling everybody that he prays. He could just be telling everybody all these things, but, he's had all kinds of sexual misconduct. And she said, well, those was a long time ago. It was 2006. It's 10 years ago. It's not a long time ago. And it was the 3rd time. Stormy Daniels, which is clear that it happened because he had his private lawyer pay $130,000 to pay her for her silence, which he has now pled guilty to 8 federal crimes. So that's fact. And it's not an ignorable fact. You see, pro-life equals God. And this is the mistake that has been made. And it's the reason why I talk about my change on the view of abortion so much. That to them means there's no possible way that you could ever be a moral person and be pro-choice. There's no possible way you could be a moral person and support a party that has a party plank such as pro-choice, and if the other party elects somebody who's clearly the only Christian thing about him is all in name only, and the fact that he attempts to pray, the guy knows nothing about the Bible. He's the first. I'm more of a Christian than he is, and I just run into this, and this is the person who wants to preach to me about how to live my life. So I can't leave Christians alone. They deserve the criticism, and I'm going to continue to do it. This is backward circular logic. You know, when I brought this up to her, she said, well, God can use an imperfect vessel to do his will. Well, he could have used better vessels that clearly said they were Christian. Why didn't God pick Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz seems to be a much better Christian than Donald Trump. Doesn't have any of these red flags, doesn't have any of these affairs. Why wasn't Ted Cruz the nominee? But you see, big picture questions aren't exactly Christian song suits. That's why they're still Christians. Because when you ask the big picture questions, the religion falls apart. Like, why do I not believe in Santa Claus? Or, you know, the god Titan? Or Poseidon? But I do believe in the God of the Bible. Start asking big picture questions, and your faith gets rocked to its core because those questions don't have good answers. And so people run from this. They create stories and circular logic to justify the strong beliefs they hold. It's called cognitive dissonance. And this lady was full of it. It was a good conversation, and genuinely we left on nice terms. She got out of the car saying, "Go Trump, and I hope I see you at my church." After I told her 3 times my church-going days were over and I would never attend church again, and that I believe the way I do because I have seen something I cannot unsee, and that it was clear to me that I've read more of the Bible than her. That's number 1. Number 2, it was clear to me that she didn't care. She didn't care. My opinion and my story was absolutely relevant. She also believes in ghosts. She also believes that she's heard and seen things that just absolutely prove the existence of God. And so it can't possibly be true that she's wrong about any of that. She must be right because she supposedly has seen it. This is why I have to criticize Christians. This is dangerous. It is dangerous to believe something that you don't know why you would not believe it. The moment you believe something so absolutely that you can't even come up with what would constitute you not believing it, it is no longer a belief system. It's no longer rational. It is a cult. And the majority of evangelical Christians are a cult. It came out that she's likely some form of Pentecostal non-denominational like my parents. And I find this sad that these people have been swept up into a political movement that celebrates a horrible, horrible, horrible man in the name of a God that does not exist. And the real work on the ground is breaking down the religion in favor of reason and evidence-based understanding. And I get told by some nominal Christians that don't hold on to these strictures that they want to make defenses of religion. They want to tell me that not everybody takes their religion this literally. Other things are less, harmful. There are smarter people who take the religion. Great. Glad. They're not the ones electing narcissistic douchebags to the White House. I'm worried about people like my Lyft ride. That's who I'm worried about when I'm criticizing religion. If religion is something that just brings a little bit of value to your life, you don't push it on anybody else, you're not telling people that you're going to pray for them because you think they're going to hell, and you're not doing those things, then I don't care. Believe whatever you want. Get away. Like, you're not who I'm talking to, so stop defending it. But these are the people electing a horrible man based on a moral code that has no consistency and is so full of internal contradictions that we get a genuine piece of shit who doesn't care about people, who's racist, who is misogynistic and sexist and gross. And that's who we've got as president because of this false belief in a God, and it's always tied to pro-life. I mean, every time. Ask any evangelical Christian, their number one issue is abortion. And it's based on nonsense, especially considering their God ordered the killing of babies all over the Bible. And they go, well, that's the Old Testament. Well, it's in the Bible I read, and it was done by your God. So obviously you're confused, not me.